All right. Welcome to Resume Tips and Tools. My name is Perla. Before we begin, I need to let you know about some ground rules that we've set up for today's program. You will be muted during this class and we have your video blocked. You will only see our screen. At the top of your screen, you can find an exit full screen option if you need to get to other things on your computer, including other programs or an internet browser. You are welcome to ask questions during today's program. You should see an icon at the bottom of your screen that says chat. Click on that to open the chat window. Chat is set to be seen by library staff only. Please note that any inappropriate comments will cause your immediate removal from the class. In regards to questions, we may answer you in the chat box. We might hold the question until a break or the end of the program, or we might go ahead and ask the question at the time if it is pressing. In the reminder email for this class, there is a link for the course handout with additional information, and I will paste that in the chat right now. And a recording of this class will also be sent out in a few days. If you would like to watch today's class and then practice after getting the recording, that is also an option. If you would like to follow along on your computer while we access the different products and services today, you may. But please keep in mind that it will be difficult to give one-on-one assistance or troubleshoot during today's class. Thank you, Jamie, for the link. All right. Okay, so good afternoon and welcome to today's class. My name is Perla. As we get started today, I do need to remind you that I'm not a business expert. The information I'm sharing with you today is designed to be an overview and help you connect with additional resources that may be helpful in your job search. We have 4 main objectives for today's class. Share some general tips and information for creating your resume. We'll be talking about why it's important to have an up-to-date resume and some strategies to help your resume stand out. Number 2, explore free resume templates that can help you write your resume. We'll be looking at Microsoft Word, Google Docs, and Canva. Number 3, we're going to explore resume building programs that help you draft your resume step by step. We'll be looking at resources from LinkedIn, Indeed, and Learning Express. And lastly, we'll be discovering additional resume tools that can assist in evaluating your resume. We'll be looking at resources from tutor.com, Learning Express, and LinkedIn Learning, so that you can have access for free with your library card. All right, so why have an up-to-date resume? Let's get started by talking about how often we review and update our resumes. I'm going to put up a poll on the screen with a few choices. Please take a moment to choose the poll that best describes you. All right, so our choices were every few months, once per year, every few years, only if something important changes, only if I'm actively searching for a job, or I can't remember the last time I updated my resume. All right, looks like it's split evenly between only if something important changes, and I can't remember the last time I've updated my resume with a little bit under every few years, and only if I'm actively searching for a job. All right. So career experts recommend that you update your resume regularly, even if you're currently employed and aren't planning on making a career change. This means looking at your resume every 6 months or so to make sure the information is still accurate. If you're actively looking for a job, you'll want to update your resume more often. Whenever you have an important career update, like a job change or major project, or if your information becomes outdated, you'll also want to make changes. So why should you have an up-to-date resume? Here are a few reasons. Having an up-to-date resume builds your confidence. It's easier for you to see your career trajectory and the progress that you've made. Being confident in your skills and abilities helps you stand out as a candidate. An up-to-date resume helps clearly articulate your vision. As you look at where you've been in your career, you can more easily see what your next steps should be to reach your goals. This can help you narrow your focus when you're looking for positions. You are prepared for new opportunities. Sometimes we make career moves when unexpected opportunities arise that match our goals and vision. You don't have to spend a lot of time preparing before you're ready to apply. You are prepared for worst-case scenarios. Sometimes we make career moves based on unexpected changes like layoffs, downsizing, or companies closing. You're ready to hit the ground running if you suddenly need to make a new plan. And lastly, you can more accurately capture your major accomplishments. It can be hard to remember the specifics of your major projects and accomplishments. Regularly updating and adding this information means that you can include more impactful details that help your resume stand out. It's also an easy way to check to make sure your information is current and highlights your best skills. So our next slide is tips for resume success. Many decisions you make while creating your resume will be uniquely yours and depend on your career goals, profession, and experience. How you format your resume, what information you include, and even what order you include that information in may change depending on the job you want. Here are a few tips that you can use on any resume you create, regardless of your career field. Build your professional brand. Strong resumes show hiring teams you're an ideal candidate to interview and hire. Use your skills, talents, and experience to demonstrate your professional image. Keep it concise. You don't need to include everything on your resume. An interview will give you the opportunity to share more details and examples. Generally, a resume features 10 to 15 years of experience and only 1 or 2 pages of content. To share more information, consider an online supplement like a digital portfolio, website, or even your LinkedIn profile. Customize to the job. You can match your keywords, summary, experience, skills, and accomplishments to each position. You're not making up information, you're focusing on what's important to that particular employer. Be intentional with words and examples. You have limited space to convey your message and stand out from other candidates. Be achievement-oriented and use keywords that match the job duties, avoiding too many technical terms. Concrete examples with numbers, percentages, and details will go a long way to demonstrating your value. And be aware of formatting. Proofread your resume and pay attention to the formatting details. Choose easily identified section label and make sure your keywords are included throughout your resume. Choose fonts that are easily read and scanned and whether you need a format that allows editing. Are there any questions so far? Doesn't look like it.
All right, then I think we are ready to move on to some of our examples and demonstrations today. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamie, and again, I do need to remind you that I'm a librarian and not a business expert. It's important to remember that each of the tools that we share today does have different pros and cons, and what works well for one person or career might not be a good fit for another. So our goal today is to provide some introductory information about resources available to you. And we're going to start by covering some different resume templates that you can access. Resume templates provide guidance for formatting and organizing your information, but also give you the flexibility to customize to your specific needs. So let's start by looking at some resume templates through Microsoft Word. I'm going to be using the desktop version of Word to demonstrate today, but you can also view them online and either download them or open them in your browser if you're using the web-based 365. Microsoft Word templates have the benefit of having pre-designed layouts and formatting, but it can be challenging if you need to move or add content on that template. When you open Microsoft Word, you will likely see the template gallery, which is what you should see on my screen right now. If you don't, you can access it at any time by choosing File, then New. At the very top of this template gallery, you should see a search box, and I'm just going to type resume into that box, and that will search the template gallery for me. And now you can scroll through the available templates from Microsoft. If you want to see a larger preview of the file, you can click on the image and it will bring up a separate window here that's a little bit bigger. You can see a better preview. And once you've found a template that you like, all you need to do is hit create, and it will download the template for you. Now you have a document that you can edit. So what you'll see here is that Word provides placeholders with the information you might want to include. You'll also see that each section may include some tips on what you might want to include, like it has under your job title here to describe your responsibilities and achievements. To update the information, you can just click on the text. So I'll click here in first name, and I can just type to replace it.
Looks like we've got a question, Jamie. Someone's asking if they can format in Google Excel.
We will be covering Google Docs in just a moment. If you're doing a resume, most likely you won't be using Excel or Sheets. You'll probably be using Word or Docs, but you would be able to format in several different programs. So while you're working in Microsoft Word, you may find that you need to add or delete information. It can sometimes be tricky to do that and maintain your template, but copying and pasting can be one option. So let's just say that I want to add another job entry in here. I might do a Control-C and a Control-V to copy and paste that information. You'll see it doesn't necessarily keep the spacing that it had. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky adding into a Word template. You can also do a highlight and delete for information that you don't want to include. So let's say I don't want to include activities. I could just highlight, hit backspace on my keyboard, and get rid of that section as well. Now, once you've completed your resume, you have a few different options to save from Microsoft Word. And you would access those by doing a File, Save As. So as you'll see here, you have access to OneDrive if you have an account, so you could save your document to the cloud and be able to access it from multiple computers. If you were to do this PC, it will save the document on your computer that you're working on, and you can only access it from that computer. You can also browse to locate additional options like saving to a USB. And I'm just going to do this PC here for a second. Let's say I'm saving to the desktop, and then it'll pop up that save window. Now, if you want to be able to edit your document in the future, you can save it as that docx Word document file format that it defaults to. However, if you want to preserve your formatting, you can use this dropdown and change to a PDF, which would allow you to view but not edit the information without special software. Are there any questions about Microsoft Word templates?
I don't see any additional questions right now.
All right. So let's pop over to Google Docs as our second option. Google Docs provides an alternative to Microsoft Word templates. As you may know, Microsoft Word does require you to purchase either a yearly subscription or the desktop client, but Google you can access for free. And you can access these through your Google Drive account, but you may also find additional templates online that you can upload into Google Docs. Like Word templates, Google Docs templates have the benefit of having that pre-designed layout and formatting. And again, if you need to add or adjust much content, you will need to be comfortable manipulating text within Google Docs. You can access Google Docs directly, but I'm just going to demonstrate how to do it from my Google Drive homepage. So I would just sign into my account. This pulls up my Google Drive homepage, and then I could choose new. And I would go over to Google Docs. I'm going to use this little arrow to access the template menu and choose from a template. Google Docs doesn't have very many templates to choose from in their template gallery. And you can find all of the choices right here in the section that's labeled resumes. Unlike Word, there isn't a way to enlarge a preview. So once you've found a template that you think you'll like, you'll just have to double click to open it. I'm just going to do this first one here. And Google will think about it and open up that document for me. And once again, I have a document that I can edit. Google provides placeholders with information, but unlike Word, I have to highlight the entire text to replace it with my own information. I can't just click on it and change it, but I can easily highlight and change that information to update. Now, again, you might find that you need to add or delete information, and depending on how the template is formatted, you may be able to copy and paste, or you may need to be more creative. So let's say I want to copy and paste experience. I can do that and just add it right in there. Now, if I want to get rid of something, say I only need one education entry and I just hit delete, you'll see that I still have a pretty big space on here, and that has to do with the table formatting that Google has put in place. So I would need to adjust that to get rid of that space. And that's where it gets a little bit trickier as you're editing your documents to find where those things are. Now, because Google Docs is cloud-based, your work will save automatically in the cloud as you work, and you can access it from any internet accessible device later. However, you may want to rename your file to make it easier to find. So up here in the top left corner where it says resume, that's my file name. I can easily add my name or something else just to designate that file. Click out of that box and it'll save the changes. Once I've completed that resume, I may want to download it for future use. I can edit a Google Docs file at any time, but I would likely need it as a document or PDF to submit it for applications. Downloading the file will not remove it from your Google Drive or otherwise change it. It's just getting you a copy of what you have done. And to do that, you would just click on File. You would scroll down to download, and that's where you can choose your file type. You could either do Microsoft Word or PDF to get a copy of that downloaded on your computer, and you can just attach that as part of your job applications. Are there any questions about Google Docs templates?
No questions.
All right, I have one other template that I would like to show you today, and that's going to be through a program called Canva. So let's just pop that window over there. Canva provides another internet-based option for creating resumes. And they have 3 account types: free, professional, and enterprise. We will only be looking at options from the free account today, which does include access to many templates and information. Canva templates are more graphically appealing than the more text-based options that you'll find in something like Word or Google Docs. However, it can also be more challenging to add and arrange the elements because the program doesn't behave like word processing software. These layouts may also have challenges with ATS software, which are the computer programs commonly used to scan resumes because of those graphic elements. And because they are more graphic, they may also not include all of the typical resume sections that you're used to seeing. So you will want to look for a template that includes the specific information that you need. So let me go ahead and sign into my Canva account, which you can set up for free with an email and password, or you can link to your Google account if you prefer. And once I log in there, that gives me access to all of the design features. Now from the homepage, I see that I have a menu for templates, and then under personal, I can just choose resumes. One really nice thing about the design gallery here is that it does give me options to filter the results. So let's say I want a simple resume, I can click simple, and I can also filter to just the free resume choices. And that shows me all of the different resumes that I have to work with. And I can scroll through and see anything that I think works for me. And let's just say I like one of these. Much like Microsoft Word, when I click on it, I can preview that template in more detail. And then when I found one that works for me, I just need to click customize this template, and that will open up my design window. And this is where I have the document that I can edit. Now you will notice if you've not worked with Canva before, you do have some different menus on the side that you can use to customize. Right here on the left, the top choice there is your templates menu. And this can be used to change your template at any time. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you choose this and switch templates, you will lose any information that you have already updated, and you'll be starting from scratch. So if you have looked at this and decide you don't want it, I would recommend making that change before you start typing in your information. Right underneath that is your elements menu, and you can use that to add shapes, images, charts, and things like that. Then you have your uploads menu, which can be used to access any elements you have uploaded to your account, which may be images, videos, or audio clips. And then your text menu can be used to add headings and text boxes onto your template as well. Now, to get those out of your way, you can also use that little arrow on the side to hide and increase your window. And down at the bottom, you do have a zoom that you can zoom into different sections of your resume. Now, much like Google Docs, to be able to change things, I do need to highlight and type over them. And that lets me customize that information. Now, if I need to add or delete information, I do need to manipulate the individual items making up a template. So you'll see here, it's kind of a little text box, and I would use that trash can to get rid of that. If I wanted this to take up more space, I would actually have to resize to take up more of the space and adjust individual elements within there. You're also going to see the same thing happen if you are trying to copy or paste information. You'll see there are several boxes here that are linked together. They're all grouped. So I would have to ungroup them to be able to work with them individually by clicking ungroup. Now they're individual boxes that I can move around, and I can also copy and paste using that little duplicate button. It would make a nice little replica for me. But again, I have to be able to move those boxes around to where I need. So I have to be pretty comfortable manipulating the data in there. Now, Canva will save your changes periodically as you work, but you can also save your changes immediately by doing a file save. And you can easily check right up here next to the undo arrow where it says all changes saved. That will change and show you if there are unsaved changes as well. You may want to rename your file to make it easier to find in your Canva account. And similar to Google Docs, we would just click up here in the file name, type whatever we wanted to call it, click off of that box, and that will make those changes for you as well. Once you've completed your resume, you're ready to download it for future use. And you would just click on that little arrow in the right-hand corner to access the download menu. And you can choose your desired file type. Most likely you're going to be doing a PDF because you're submitting it as a document, but you could also download it as an image file as well. Are there any questions about Canva templates?
No questions.
Okay, so we've explored some different templates that you can use. And now we're going to move on to job search sites and resume builders. So using resume templates often requires that you have some comfort organizing and manipulating text in word processing or other software like we did just now. Another option to create resumes is to use resume builders, which are often available online. And these tools generally take the information that you provide and compile it into a resume that you can share. We're going to start with the LinkedIn Resume Builder. So I'm going to pop over to LinkedIn and go ahead and sign into my account. We're only going to cover some basic information about the LinkedIn Resume Builder today. If you'd like a more detailed description of this tool and how it works, you can check out our previous program, LinkedIn Build Your Resume, which is available on our YouTube channel. We also have a LinkedIn series that is coming up in October that will feature a course on the LinkedIn Resume Builder as well. Now, the LinkedIn Resume Builder uses information from your LinkedIn profile to create a resume, and you can import and edit content and then add keywords and skills. LinkedIn will provide keyword suggestions based on your selected job title to help focus your descriptions. While you can customize what information appears in your resume, you are limited to the sections provided by LinkedIn, and you can't reorder how the entries or sections appear. To access the Resume Builder, you will need to navigate to your profile on your LinkedIn account. So I'm just going to click here on my name to pull up my profile. And up in the top section, you should see a button that says More. You would click on that button and then choose Build a Resume. The Resume Builder is going to give you two different options. Doing Create from Profile allows you to create a resume based on your existing LinkedIn profile, and then Upload Resume lets you upload and review an existing resume that you may have. So I'm going to go ahead and do Create from Profile just to demonstrate. And to launch the Resume Builder, I have the option to choose a desired title, which, as I mentioned earlier, LinkedIn will use to give keyword suggestions. So let's just say, I'll put in librarian and hit apply. You can also choose to skip that step if you don't want that assistance. Over on the right-hand side, you have your keyword check, which will show keywords found in your resume, as well as suggested keywords that you may want to include in your resume. You can customize each of the sections, which are pulled directly from your LinkedIn profile, by clicking on the pencil icon to open up the editing window. You can make the changes and then hit save, or if there was a section you didn't need, say you no longer want to include this position, you could use the trash can icon to delete a section as well. If you don't want to include a section at all, so say, for example, you don't want to have a summary, you could choose to delete, and if the section is empty, it will not appear on your resume. LinkedIn will save your resume as you're working on it. Now keep in mind the changes that you make in the Resume Builder don't show up on your LinkedIn profile. So you don't have to worry about accidentally updating or removing information. You might want to name different versions of your resume so that it's easy to tell what you're using each one for. And you can do that by just clicking up here on the pencil icon next to that. And let's say I just want to add today's date in so I can easily tell when I made it. I would hit save and that would name the file for me. Now, once I've finished making the edits, I'm ready to download it for future use. I can use the preview button in the right-hand corner to access a preview where I can see what that document looks like before I print. Let's say I think everything looks good. Then I can go under more and choose download as a PDF. A PDF is the only format that LinkedIn will allow you to download your resume as. Are there any questions about the LinkedIn Resume Builder?
I don't see any questions.
All right, so let's say that you maybe don't have a LinkedIn account or you want something that you can do without signing in. The Indeed Resume Builder might be a good fit for you. Indeed is one of the popular online job posting sites that offers an online resume builder you can use without having an account. It uses information that you provide to create a resume based on one of several templates. Now, unlike some of the other tools that we've explored, you can easily switch between the resume templates to find the one that best suits you. However, you do need to be aware that this information will not save when you close your browser window, so you can't work on your resume in stages. And while you can choose the sections that you include, you can't change the order of entries once you have put them in. So let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Once I've accessed that homepage, I would just click on the link for Build Your Free Resume. And this is where I can choose a template to get started. I'm just going to start with this clean one and select this template. And now I have access to the features to customize my resume and input content. So this template menu here is where I can change my template at any time. And I'm going to go ahead and just type in my name so that you can see, even if I switch to the minimalist format, that information moved with me. So it's really easy for me to switch between different formats without losing the work that I've done. Under the style menu, if I click on style, I can choose my accent color or update my font. So let's say I'm feeling blue today and I want a different font. I can easily make those changes and they apply right away so I can see what it looks like. And then the last menu here is the sections menu, and that's where I can add, remove, or reorder sections. So I can add a section by turning that slider on or off, and it'll show me on the resume what that looks like. So let's say I want to add awards. I can easily turn that slider on for awards. I can remove a section the same way just by turning that slider back to off again. And then I can reorder sections by just dragging and dropping. So if I want my education to be at the top, I can move that and I can see what those changes look like. I can easily see what sections I still need to add information for highlighted in yellow. And then when I click on them, I can easily type in information and then hit save. And even if I've put in partial information, it shows me that there's still some things that I might want to add into that entry before I finish. Now, a couple of things to note here. I don't have the option to name my file. I would have to rename it once I've downloaded it to my computer as a completed resume. Once I've finished making edits to my resume, I am ready to download it for future use. And you will see right here in the top right corner, there's a nice big blue download resume button. I would click on that and my resume would download as a PDF file. Once again, I don't have a choice of how I download the file, the PDF is the only option that I have. Now, as long as I leave that browser window open, I can still make changes and re-download the file. I would just click close here. I could go back and realize, oops, forgot to put in my field of study. Let me go ahead and add that. Hit save, and my information is still there. I could just do download again. If I close this window altogether, that's when I've lost everything and I would have to start over again. Are there any questions about the Indeed resume builder?
There are no questions at the moment.
Okay, I have one more resume builder that I'd like to demonstrate, and that's going to be the Learning Express Build Your Resume Career Tool, which is accessible from the Learning Express database for free with your library card. It uses information that you provide to create a resume while also giving you additional sample documents and suggestions. If you don't want to create a resume step by step, you can also upload an existing document and edit it. So to access that tool, you will need to sign into your Learning Express account. So from the Plano Library website, I would click on the tile for Research and Learn, which is going to bring up our databases page, which I went ahead and preloaded just because sometimes it's a little bit slow to pull up everything. And I would scroll down to Academics and Homeschooling. And there you'll see the link for Learning Express, which is going to take you to this window here. And you will need to sign into your Learning Express account to be able to access these features, which again, you can create for free with an email and password.
Jamie, we have a question.
Absolutely.
On the Indeed resume builder.
Mhm.
I have a person asking if it's possible to attach other documents to the resume.
Not within the free resume builder. Unfortunately, the only thing that you can do, and let me pop back over there, is you can add in the information, but you can't actually attach other files because it's basically going to create a text-based document. Now, if it was something that you had available online and say, I worked for the city of Plano and I wanted you to know about my online portfolio, I could include that in the description. And you could include a link to it, but you can't actually attach supplemental documents. Does that answer the question?
Looks like it does. Thank you, Jamie.
No problem. Let's pop back over to Learning Express. Now, once I have signed in, I'm taken to my dashboard, and this is where I can find any resumes that I've previously created, courses that I'm working on, things like that. Now, to get to the Build Your Resume tool, I'm going to choose the menu for centers. I'm going to choose Job and Career Accelerator, and I'm going to choose Build Resumes and Job Letters. And once I have loaded that, you're going to see that Build Your Resume tool pops up, and you can click Launch Career Tool. Now, to create a resume in here, I do need to provide some basic information, and I'm just going to choose, I want to create a new resume. If you wanted to upload a file, you would just select that upload option instead. And I need to name it. I can describe it if I want to, which is a great place if I want to put in what job I'm applying for, etc. I'm going to choose a category that best matches what I do. So we'll just choose one of those. And I'm also going to choose my experience level. And this just helps Learning Express give me some suggestions that might be appropriate to my specific circumstance. If you have any of these unique work situations, you can also put those in as well. And then you would click Start Building My Resume. And this will load the resume builder for you. Now within the tool, you do have a few different menus, and those are all going to be listed across the top here. The build or edit resume menu, which is your default, is where you will work on the individual sections of your resume, and we'll come back to that in just a second. If you were to do browse sample resumes, you can see other resumes that may be similar to your circumstances, and you can adjust the categories, experience, level, and work situations, and find different resumes that you can look at for inspiration. And then under the keyword list, you can see different action words and job specific keywords that might help you when writing out your descriptions. If you get stuck on what you want to say, this is a great way to look at some different options. Let me pop back to that build or edit resume window. And this is where I can customize my resume and input content. So I have a couple of different ways that I can do that. I can either use these arrows here at the top where it says select to browse between sections, or I can pop right down to one that I want to work on and just click add, and it will navigate there for me. Within each section, I will find the individual fields to edit, and for entries with dates, they're going to reorder automatically on my resume as I add them. So I don't have to worry about if I have everything in the right order. It'll do it for me as I type them in. Up at the top, you've got that plus sign that you can use to expand if you want some more tips on completing the section. And then underneath, you have the information that you'll be putting in. Anything with a little asterisk is going to be a required field that I have to put in to save. Anything else is going to be recommended information that I might want to include. Once I've put in everything that I want, I can just click save, and it will put in that entry for me. Now, Learning Express is going to save my resume to my profile. So if I were to log out of Learning Express and log back in, I would see that saved. However, you do want to make sure that you hit save in each section as you're working on it to make sure that you've captured those changes. Now, once you are done editing and ready to download, you can use the preview resume menu on the far right to verify that everything looks good to go. You can give it a quick peek. Looks great. If I've noticed I've left something out, I can easily pop back over to build or edit resume to get back to the editing window. Now I'm going to choose my best option. I can either print a copy of my resume, I can make a copy of it, or that little arrow will let me download my resume. And that's where I would select my file type and download accordingly. So I've got that Word document or PDF. Once I've selected one of those, that download option does pop up for me. You will see an option here. The little envelope gives you the option to email a copy of your resume, but keep in mind you do need to have at least one saved job in the Learning Express job searching menu to be able to access this feature. And then you would be able to walk through, choose a file format, the job and cover letter, and compose a message with your resume attached. Are there any questions about the Learning Express Build Your Resume tool?
There are no questions right now.
Okay, so the last thing that we're going to talk about today are some additional resume tools. While you're creating your resume, you might want some additional resources that can help you edit and evaluate your work. So for the last portion of this class, we're going to explore some resources available through the library that can provide additional guidance and support. And the first one that I'd like to share is tutor.com. And this database is available for free with your library card. Under that research and learn menu that we were on earlier, instead of Learning Express, I'd scroll down a little bit further, and that would take me to tutor.com. And that Login screen should look something like this. If you're logging in from home instead of a library computer, it may pop up and ask you for your library card number to verify access. There are two services that might help in your job search on tutor.com: individual career coaching with their online tutors and the drop-off resume review service. Now, to be able to access the features, I do need to sign into my account. And tutor.com is feeling a little bit slow for me today. So while we're waiting for that page to load, I'm going to talk a little bit about the online options that you have through tutor.com. Plano Public Library patrons have access to live online tutoring and support daily from 2 p.m. until 11 p.m. You can sign into your account during those hours, and you would just click that Get a Tutor Now button to connect with someone. And those live tutors can provide one-on-one support and answer your specific questions. Job help topics include things like finding a job, applying for a job, writing cover letters and resumes, preparing for interviews, and unemployment assistance. Unfortunately, since we're not in the live tutoring window, that's not something that I can demonstrate for you right now, but you should have instructions in the course handout that walk you through that. The cover letter and resume review service is available at any time, and you'll share some information about what you're working on, and within 12 hours, someone will review your document and provide feedback. Now, to get to that, I would click where it says Submit a Paper for Review. And then I'm going to choose the Job Help Resume and Cover Letter Drop-Off option, and then I would choose some information. So I would choose the type of document, a resume or a cover letter, and then I would also let them know about me so they can match me with the best person. And then you can provide the job description or a link to the posting that you're considering. If you include this information, it helps your tutor evaluate your resume in relation to the specific keywords or needs of that position. So it's a little bit more personalized than just reviewing your overall document. Then you would click here where it says Choose File to upload your document. And it does need to be an editable document. So a Word document or text file. You can't upload a PDF for review. One other thing to keep in mind: to submit your resume, you will need to remove all personal details like your name, your email, and your phone number. So it may help to have a separate copy of your resume where you have just deleted that information off. If you were to submit it with personal information, you'll get a message back from them saying they can't review your document and to please resubmit. You'll receive an email notification when your document is ready for review, and you'll be able to download that reviewed document and make any needed changes in your original file. Now, keep in mind, you can only submit one document at a time. So if you have multiple versions of your resume that you'd like reviewed, you will need multiple sessions to do this. So make sure that you allow enough time for editing and review as part of your job search process. Are there any questions about the available services from tutor.com?
I don't see any questions in chat.
All right, we're going to pop back over to Learning Express for a moment, because in addition to the resume builder, Learning Express also offers tutorials with additional information. These are self-paced courses that provide additional information and tools that can help you as you create your resume. So I am still under that Job and Career Accelerator under Build Resumes and Job Letters, but instead of choosing the career tool, you see I have the option to start tutorials. Each tutorial does include a description of what it will cover, and once you click on it, it's a self-paced course that you can work through by just clicking Start Tutorial. You can also pop over to the contents menu on the left side and choose a specific lesson that you want to review. So say you're looking for information about your experience, you can pop right over to that section and review that content. Your progress will be saved in your dashboard if you need to pause and come back later. So you can always click that save and finish later and get back to the course in the future. To browse other topics and courses available, you can click on the different menus within that Job and Career Accelerator, or you can also use the search bar on the Learning Express homepage to search for content as well. And then the last resource that I'm going to show you is LinkedIn Learning, which once again is available for free with your library card. Under Research and Learn, instead of Academics and Homeschooling, you're going to go down to that Business tab and select LinkedIn Learning. If you have done a Google search for LinkedIn Learning, you should be able to access this page as well by clicking the option to log in with your library card. Once you've put in your library card number for access, you will have access to the LinkedIn Learning homepage. Now, LinkedIn Learning offers thousands of online video tutorials for different topics and skills, and you can find courses by identifying either the specific skills you'd like to develop, browsing by topic, or searching through their course catalog. Within this platform, you can watch video clips, entire courses, or even explore learning paths that bring together related content. We're only going to cover a few brief tips today. And once again, for more detailed information about how to use this database, I would encourage you to check out our upcoming LinkedIn program series. Now, if I want to browse topics, I would just click on this browse menu at the top, and I can see there's career development. I could choose job searching, but let's say that I'm looking specifically for resumes. I could also type resume in the search box and pull up different courses and information.
Amy, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
we have a question. Someone is asking if we can log into LinkedIn Learning again. I think they want to see the process.
Yes, let me sign out of my account. And I'm going to close that window and I'm going to go back. So I am here on the Research and Learn tab for the Plano Library website. I'm going to scroll all the way down to Business and choose LinkedIn Learning. And that should bring me to the page where I would click Get Started. And it's going to ask me for my library card number and my PIN number to click Continue. And just because I mentioned it earlier as well, let's say you have Googled LinkedIn Learning. I will need to sign out for that to work. If you have Googled LinkedIn Learning and got to the sign-in page, you may see a sign-in that looks like this with an email. You would select sign in with your library card and you would type in Plano Library here, click continue, and you should get back to that library card screen. So once I've done a search and found the content that looks interesting to me, I can apply some filters from the side. I can choose if I want a course or individual videos. I can also choose something like level to say I only want beginner content to help narrow down those results. And once I found something that I like, I would just click on the course title to get started. I can see information about the course in that overview tab, as well as the different sections here on the left-hand side where I can jump between different videos. And once I was done with the class, I can either save it, or if this is something that didn't quite appeal to me, I can just hit back and get back to that search list as well. Are there any other questions about LinkedIn Learning or our databases?
We do have a question, not about either, but it asks how to write an experience gap.
So that's going to depend on your specific situation and the type of job that you're applying for. I would recommend, rather than getting into it in this class, if you'd like some specific tips and suggestions for your unique situation, to do either an Ask a Librarian or a Book a Librarian. The Ask a Librarian would let us answer via email, or Book a Librarian, we could do a 30-minute appointment one-on-one to look at the specifics of your situation and give you a better answer than I can in today's class.
Thank you, Jamie. Looks like that is it for right now.
Okay, that is a great segue then to pop back over to our slideshow and talk about our additional resources.
All right, I'll take over. Thank you. So thank you, everyone. This concludes our class on resume tips and tools. Before we go, I'd like to share just a few more library resources with you. You can browse additional materials in our collection related to job searching and resumes by searching our online catalog, which I will link in the chat right now. You can filter your search by location or items currently available, or place items on hold for pickup at one of our locations as well. If you have a short question you'd like library staff to answer, like Jamie mentioned just now, you may submit it online at any time using our Ask a Librarian service. I will also link to that in the chat. So a librarian will usually respond within 48 hours with the information that you need for this service, or with the service. And if you want more one-on-one help from one of our librarians, about 30 minutes and the chance to go over your specific questions, you can complete a Book a Librarian appointment request. And a link for that will also be in the chat. Each session is tailored to your specific needs and is compatible with your schedule. In addition, our blog, Plano Library Learns, includes book lists, program recordings, and other useful information. You can explore more business and career resources from the associated tab. You can also view past programs on our YouTube channel, which I will also link in the chat. Remember, you will receive a link to the recording from today's class in a few days, and you can access our course handouts via the Google Drive, which was linked earlier, but I can also place another link in the chat for you to save. All right, there it is. All right, that's it. Please take a moment to complete our program survey, which should pop up for you when you exit today's program. We do value your feedback, and thank you again for joining us today.